Okay, understandable. Why you just destroyed a photocopy machine or an MFP, MFD, whatever. It's very badly designed by the wrong types of people who don't care about the product, who don't care about people who it services, or rather it disservices now. When you think about it, that's all it is a disservice, because it's you know, thing is myself don't enjoy watching videos on people destroying things, especially copiers. Big copier fan, but don't feel upset about it. One thing is I didn't watch the actual footage, but it doesn't take much for me to join the dots in my head to say that photocopier design is totally wrong. It's totally wrong. How do I know? I do a lot of in-depth amateur research. I don't need to look at Wise Lab. I don't need to look at Bertle and all these silly, these commercial labs. The money is what's driving the people in the industry. Money and greed and selfishness and wanting to create their own homes, their own domains, and they let the nerds and the geeks suffer. They couldn't give a fig if they died. They couldn't give a fig. They've clicked us out of all of us out of the industry. It used to be a wonderful time in the 90s. People were rocking around and having fun, and photocopier art, believe it or not, was being used as a tool to basically make the photocopier more human and give the nerds and the geeks a more human visage. But now we have been branded as cold and insensitive and hateful, and we've become that way, most of us. Some of us have awoken, and I'll tell you one thing, it's an ugly side. And there's no respect. It doesn't matter if it comes from the secular world, the religious organisations who should be feeding the hungry and the poor, just treat us like we're so evil that they'd rather see us die in what appears to be that state. Rubbish, they're stupid, it's foolish. What's the IQ range of these people? 90 to 110. Horrid. They obsessed, they don't like people with Asperger's syndrome who I believe can do the job much better than them. Because when we are functioning properly, we are very empathetic. We are the most nice. It's the nerds and the geeks. The nerds and the geeks have always, they're really. Why are nerds and geeks typically soft? Because that's just their nature. Some of them can be hard when you rough them up too much. But when they're happy, they're just like the biggest party goers. Some of them are big party rockers. Some of them are the usual quite timid types. But a nerd in the geek's life in 2013 is ruled primarily by instinct. It's called fight and flight. It's called, you're getting told you suck, but it's also we're fighting each other too, because we're so alienated by these normal people that they've learned how to socialise. They say that because we're task-oriented, we are not welcome in the industry. We've got to be like, they reckon, to be more, to sell more product, you've got to basically have more of a social style, be less into the machinery. But the problem is, if you don't care about the machinery that you're actually designing, right, you are not serving your customer. Now, the thing is, I'm a photocopier artist, right? But it goes beyond that, because when you're using photocopiers as an art tool and you enjoy doing it, you get to learn about the photocopiers featuring so much in depth. Even though my access to photocopiers is extremely limited and I pay for the copy, I'm still very good at what I do. And when I look at a machine, I think, and I watch and I'm in a public place. That's the advantage of being in a public photocopying zone, out of necessity, out of financial, or let's just clarify, most nerds and geeks do not have the basic essentials that normal people take for granted. For one, they don't have what's called a job, or if the jobs they have, they might have jobs in the supermarket, which is really not nice. Another thing, they don't have, many of them are on disability pension with Asperger's syndrome. Asperger's syndrome, to me, is not a disability. I consider it an asset if normal people would just leave us alone, leave them alone, because we just have to be ourselves. Another thing to note also is that many of us, are with our friends, or our friendship circles are very limited to our own kind, whatever we had in the 90s maybe, when the copier industry was a rocking good time. We also had, and the thing that we really got paper jammed, most of us never got married. So most of us are single. There's this weird trend that we copier industrialists, or tonerheads as I refer to you guys as, if that's what you are single, most of us. And it's disgusting. So, and then we don't have a home. We often don't have vehicles to drive, often. So what do we have? What can we live on? What gives us hope? What gives us warmth? What gives us comfort? What gives us a sense of purpose in life? Normal people have the same desires. They want all these things. They've got them now. But are they really happy? Well, they're happier than us because they've crushed us, right? They're cheaters, deceitful, greedy. Well, the thing is, they can learn, but unfortunately, they've decided to kick the teachers out of the classroom. They're unruly. So the only thing we do is, this man I've got hoping to marry, he wants me to create a presence, a media presence. He wants me to use my powerful copier configuration skills as a photocopier artist. So I call myself now, I've now updated the term, copier configuration art, because this is basically what it is. It's a fusion of art and technical wizardry. It's like pinball wizard type behaviour, It's like pinball wizard. So you're not playing a pinball machine, you're playing photocopier instead. And the thing is, there's not many people into that, but I'm actually trying to restore that. Now, the people who are into photocopiers, right, I've actually helped restore many of them have lost their minds, they've lost their memories, because they're upset they've left the industry because they love the product so much. They had to find other interests, right? They once had the manufacturers, metaphorically in their minds, printed on the front of their shirt. They might have had Xerox. They said, I'm a proud Xerox fan, or I'm a proud Xerox worker, a Xeroid. It's like when you're talking cars, right? You're either a Holden fan in Australia, or typically you're either a Holden or a Ford fan. And, they love to wear the company logos, but the thing is, there's no dignity in not having a job and a social life and love. Also, the religious organisations are basically mirroring the same greedy, horrible, mean behaviour. In fact, they're the worst. They're the worst kinds. I suggest to you, if you're interested in joining a church, well, you can believe in God, worship God in your own time, but forget church, because they'll just hurt you and make you feel rotten. They are condemners, and they've brainwashed. They're the brainwashing tool, and they haven't solved the issues of poverty. They haven't solved the issues of world peace. And really, the only people, and the church is run by the same IQ range who run the copier industry, who've run us out of our world. Now, we're meant to exist without a home, without love. That's the missing component, love. If it was designed in a copier, well, the thing is, we have task-driven people just working, knuckling down, getting the job done. Now, the typical copier professional, right, does it for the money, right? And he also does it for the prestige. Runs the company because he wants to look big and impressive. Well, we don't have nothing, but we will have something one day, because global warming is on the rise. These guys don't listen to scientists or geeks. Well, to their doom, because this man I'm hoping to marry soon, he wants me to create a media coverage, right? Because photocopier art is quite an uncommon activity, and basically what's going to happen is he's trying to get me to get the images of my work, or videos of my work, to come screaming through the TV screens of people, right? Many of them are not connecting on YouTube anymore, and even if they are, well, they're certainly not connecting directly with myself. They're very timid, right? But the thing is, many of them are not connected at all because they're deeply depressed. A person with Asperger's syndrome often suffers depression. Normal people are brainwashed into being normal, and I've seen some shocking videos of the meltdowns that they have. Totally awful. And they can't operate. That's terrible. It's depression, it's rage, it's hatred, all wrapped up inside. It's rubbish. It's crap what they get treated like, and it'll never change. It'll just get worse. And we've got global financial and all this crap. But basically, they'll get their comeuppance if they keep this up, because what's going to happen, we're going to try and eventually create Silicon Valley after we've created a connection. This man will eventually dispatch, transport around the world to pick them up, because there's a lot of copier brilliant ex-professionals and amateur copier professionals online who I just admire. You know, they've got no jobs. Many of them come from third world countries. It's mind-blowing what I see, but they'll never get a job now. This slick button and tie attitude that I really find an absolute horrence. But we can't stop it. But the thing is, this Silicon Valley could very well be a form of, well, the nerds and the geeks. It's going to be a very selective process. It's not going to be for them. And it's, you know, that it might be that we might end up having a climate-controlled environment because of this global warming, and these fools might have to deal with their own foolishness, right? And that's the thing. It's sad to see the little kids suffer because of this, but they don't listen to scientists. They don't listen to nerds. They put us down, put us down, put us down. Well, good on them. They'll suffer their plight. They'll suffer. They'll drink the effluent. They'll burn in this dreadful climate change. We'll see what happens. They'll have to see what happens, and we nerds and geeks will end up having a good life, the ones who survive anyway. Alright? Anyway, I hope one day you don't feel the need to smash a photocopier, because this man wants to design in the Silicon Valley type installation a self-guided photocopier, the best on the planet. Gotta go. Alright, have fun.